I'm here now. We're still waiting for Arash. I assume he'll show up any moment now, but I didn't want to keep waiting. Uh, what is up, everybody? We are going to be talking about episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again today. Art for Art's Sake is the name of the episode. And if you watched any of our videos so far on it, you'll know that I didn't really like it too much. And this is the first episode of the show I really just did not vibe with too much. Hey, Rebel. And I know Arash probably had some opinions too, but he's still not here. Up there he is.
I am so sorry. Hold on, I gotta turn my camera on.
You should be. You should be.
I was talking to her about like gap insurance and like windshield stuff and how much the payments are gonna be monthly and then the down payment and all that. And I don't know, man. I'm just a new guy. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, we got that figured out. I bought Gap, so just in case.
Nice. Well, you're looking very overexposed. It looks like you are broadcasting live from the gates of heaven.
Give me a second. I mean, yeah. Give me a second.
This guy, he shows up late, and he's trying to blind every. Oh, he's doing some acrobatics across his room. This is the content people come for. Oh, there he goes. Parkour.
Better?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. Cool.
But
Yeah, great.
yeah, we got some Daredevil to talk about. Probably not gonna
Yes, sir, we do.
be super long today because I don't have much more to say about this episode. I don't know if you do.
That episode was it was a little divisive, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I did see, and I know some people really didn't like episode 5 of the show. Oh, I'm coming up a little low. All right, let me help you out there.
Yeah.
That should be better.
Turn yourself up.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people didn't really like episode 5 too much, but I really enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it too, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and I thought it was like a cool bottle episode. But
Yeah,
then we
we
get this
finally get to see-
episode, which before we get into Daredevil, I want to say R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
R.I.P. Fly high, Iceman.
Love
Fly
Val
high.
Kilmer. He's always been like one of my favorite like leading men. 80s 90s Hollywood actor. Love that guy.
Absolute goddamn legend. I loved him
He
in
is.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Tombstone, everything. Top
That-
Secret, which is a hidden gem.
Top Secret is one of my top comedies. But yeah, he's been sick
Underwater
for a while.
Fight. Yeah.
We knew he was sick. He wasn't really speaking. I'm glad he got that little like goodbye with Top Gun Maverick at least.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice to see. But besides that, like, I don't know, he was my Batman growing up.
He was mine too, man. I mean, I did enjoy him as there, and then George Clooney was actually, I think, mine, but they came out so close together. But I saw both of them in there.
When I was growing up, everything was Batman Forever themed. Like there was so much merchandise from that movie that it was still like there were so many things I was still seeing packaged in stores in like the mid 2000s that were Batman Forever.
I forget who was like the main bad guy in that movie.
It was Two-Face and the Riddler.
Two-Face and Riddler, got it.
Yep. And it's not a great Batman movie, but you know, Val Kilmer did his best job. Apparently he's had some conflicts with people on sets before, and there's lots of fun Val Kilmer stories. There's one on I think it's Mission to Mars where he somebody threw like a weight at him.
What?
And I think it was on Batman Forever. The reason he didn't come back for Batman and Robin was because Joel Schumacher called him like a deeply disturbed individual.
What?
Yeah.
Yo.
He had all kinds of weird on-set conflicts with people.
I don't know if that... You know what? No, we should be focusing on the fact that he was a cool dude.
Oh, it was Red Planet, not Mission to Mars. Same movie.
There we go.
Came out the same year. But
Fly
it
high, Iceman.
it
Fly high.
was Tom Sizemore through Val Kilmer became enraged when he discovered that production had paid for Sizemore's elliptical exercise machine to be shipped to the set. Kilmer shouted, "I'm making $10 million on this. You're only making 2." To which Sizemore responded by throwing a 50-pound weight at Kilmer. The two
You
were
know what?
soon refusing to speak to each other or even come onto the set if the other was present.
You know what? I kind of give Val that little bit of thing there. I think paying for a guy's elliptical machine to be shipped to the set. I don't know how I feel about that.
Did you miss the part where he said, "You're only making 2 million on this, I'm making 10"?
You know what? Everyone's an asshole in that scenario, I
Yeah, I
guess.
know. Val Kilmer was probably difficult to work with in like the late 90s after Batman and everything, but I've always enjoyed him as an actor. I said it in my
Oh
video
yeah.
earlier. Real genius. I grew up watching religiously. It's a very fun movie. Prince of Egypt, I always forget he's in that movie too. He's the main voice in it.
Loved him in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang when you
Kiss Kiss
introduced that
Bang
movie.
Bang is another good one. It's a
It's a
real.
banger of a movie that doesn't get like noticed enough,
Yeah,
considering
that's what
Robert
I
Downey
said
Jr.
that
and
in my
Val
video
Kilmer in that
too.
fucking movie.
It's
Yeah.
like it's one of those the nice guys thing.
Look up definition of the word idiot. Do you know what you'll find there?
My
Me?
favorite is well, I could just talk about the quotes from that movie all day where Robert
Yeah.
Downey Jr. shoots the guy with when he put the one bullet in the gun and Val Kilmer's just like, "What, do you know math?"
You know, Matt, it's blowing my mind right now. That's the funniest part. I feel like certain instances, Robert Downey Jr. kind of takes Val Kilmer's performance from that movie and translates it to Tony Stark in some instances, but
I think it's the chemist. They have really good chemistry together, and
Mhm.
it's sad that Val Kilmer's last decade he wasn't on screen too much because
Yeah,
even
literally could not talk.
yeah, even up until the end though. Like I don't know if you've ever seen MacGruber, but he's really funny in that too.
Oh yeah, he's pretty great in that. Was that the one where they were just like fuck the brass and then they all blew up at the end? Or was he the villain?
He
Wasn't he
was
the
the
villain? I
villain
saw that movie forever ago. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why I kept thinking Steven Seagal was the villain, but I guess he was like
because he has
giving us
a
hype.
ponytail like Steven Seagal.
That's why I was remembering that. Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, but let's get to this episode of Daredevil Born Again. Um,
So,
so
do you want to
we
go first initial thoughts?
well let's go through the episode bit by
Okay.
bit. I think we both are on the we're a little sour on this episode.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a yawn of an episode. Like, nothing crazy in there.
My biggest problem isn't with anything specifically that happened in the episode. It's the excuse me, I need to drink water.
Bro.
It was this is the end of the arc that we were setting up this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the way it played out. And I think a lot of people are having some difficulty understanding that. Is my issues with it are purely from a structure standpoint. When you have your plot, you need your setup and you need your payoff. Every time you write a story, it's all based on setup and payoff. They set up Muse at the beginning of the season. Episode 1, we see him painting something. As the season goes on, we get more hints towards him. We get little bits of extra details explaining who he is, what he does. And then last episode, we finally get the first confrontation between him and Daredevil. And it leaves off on a very wanting note. And this episode could have continued that, but instead they just kind of ended it right there. And it didn't feel like we got the payoff that we deserved based on how he was being set up the entire season. And I've seen a lot of people saying, well, it's okay because we know he's a supernatural villain and he's going to be back in season 2, so they're not done with this yet. That's not good enough, though.
No.
It's not good enough to know that we know that they're doing something behind the scenes with this character, because that's not how we look at stories. We look at how it was presented to us. In
Initially,
hindsight,
yes.
this might be better, but right now, as it stands, this was not a satisfying way to end the storyline.
They should have just definitely tweaked it a bit, even if they're going to bring him back as a supernatural entity, because it's the MCU; they can do anything right now.
Hmm.
Um, because it isn't it in the comic books where he comes back because he met up with like some demonic force.
Well, no, he's not even really human from the beginning.
Hmm. He's
It's
not.
he's not. He doesn't have a secret identity or anything like that. That's all created for the show.
Right. Got it.
But
Okay.
the way I'm looking at it is that we should have been seeing more scenes of him and Heather together, where we're getting bits of his backstory thrown in, so that
Hmm.
when this episode came and they threw the, oh yeah, I killed my Taekwondo instructor and I'm definitely Muse, by the way, it wouldn't have been so like curveball throwing, like, oh, we're just gonna drop all the exposition on you right now. It's like,
Do you
oh,
think
we've
that
been
they
sprinkling this in throughout the season, and this is the gut punch moment.
Do you think that they should have like set up scenes between him and Heather throughout the season instead of just showing him off being creepy and then hammering that all in at
Yeah,
the end?
that's exactly what it is. I don't think we needed a lot of their interactions, but we needed something.
Hmm. Isn't Heather also the marriage counselor between Kingpin and
Yes.
Vanessa? So she's in the middle of a lot of dangerous people right now,
Well, that's another thing
which
I feel like they didn't build up well. Is like they could have created, like, as soon as Wilson Fisk found out who his therapist was, like, that's his motivation. Like, that woman is going to save my relationship with Vanessa. Like, we need to
yeah.
get over there right now. But also, Daredevil is there. Extra incentive to get over there.
Yeah, because he wants to catch him in the act, to use him. I think that have you seen the video that I posted up as soon as
Not
we
yet.
launched
You
it?
posted it as we went live, so I didn't get a
Yeah.
chance to see it yet.
So in that video, I kind of go over that Fisk at this point has been building to the momentum, like where he wants to catch the vigilantes, right? He wants to really hammer home the whole anti-vigilante thing, and he's going to use that as an excuse to put martial law over New York City, like some way to basically tighten his grip on power. And what do most people usually do when they want to tighten their grip on power? Most politicians usually announce martial law using some, emergency situation to be like, hey, we can't go through the normal channels. We need to go through me. This is an actual emergency. So, Daredevil and Muse fighting it out and this whole Muse subplot, I think this was at least that's what this episode was to me. This was also like a kind of a sloppy-ish way of tightening up the Muse story for this season, but I also see it as Fisk finalizing his end of the season leading into season 2 plan. That's what my thing was about.
I could see that, and I understand where they're
Yeah.
going for that. For
Yeah.
with all the Fisk stuff, I think it was done really, really, really well. The Michael
Mhm.
Gandolfini bit where he threatens BB, really well done.
He's
I'm glad we're seeing
really
like more of a sinister edge to that character finally.
channeling his father's Tony Soprano there a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's what I was
Yeah, yeah.
thinking too.
I felt a little bit in there. I was just like, "Oh, man." We were just missing the scene of him talking about gabagool, eating it out of the fridge like a goblin. Go on.
But yeah, and those parts of the episode worked really well. I liked everything with his task force. Like, I thought
Mhm.
that aspect was done really cool. I think the fight between Daredevil and Muse was really well done.
Where he
Um
just crashed in through the window.
yeah, but
Yeah.
so there was that's one thing I have to say really positive about this episode. I think it had some really slick editing, and I don't know if you noticed any of it. I went back and I watched the whole episode again. So this is the
Yeah, they
only
did that.
episode I've seen twice because I
Well,
wanted to
because
give
like
it a second chance.
you felt like you were like, "This should have been more to that episode than I actually rewatched it a second time too. That's where I got my video idea. Because the first watch I did last night, I was just like, I don't. what can I grab from this? I need to grab something from this. Like we need to like there's got to be something we could pick through here.
Yeah.
Then I watched this second time. Then I started picking up on all these little thingies. You know, it definitely is an episode you need to watch over and kind of be like, okay, I kind of see where they're going with this. I think this is definitely a setup episode. They're moving chess pieces in play for something like that's bigger in the finale. But this is definitely a stepping stone episode. It wasn't as necessarily as balls to the wall payoff as like episode 6 was with the Muse fight and Daredevil getting back into the game
Yeah.
and Fisk getting back into his mob boss roots and beating Adam nearly to death. I feel like definitely this episode has its place. It just we're disappointed because I think we were eating a little too good yesterday, like in those 2 episode drops where we got back to back episodes of Matt being badass at a bank robbery and Fisk beating Adam to death. I think we
I
definitely needed a cool off
I
episode.
really I don't think there's anything wrong with the story aside from the fact that it
Mhm,
felt like all of this was dropped on us at once. There wasn't a subtle build up like with everything else they've done this season. We've had
mhm.
the subtle build up to Matt returning to being Daredevil again. We've had the subtle build up for all of our other plot lines. And then this Muse plot line was just like, all right, well, there it is. We're done. Carry on.
he's
Finish
a
your story.
he's a he's a psychopath and he's obsessed with a psychiatrist. There you go. Oh, now he's dead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
he'll come back.
it really did feel like the obsession. Like at if we had interactions with them from the beginning, like we had the one interaction with them at the book signing, but
Mhm.
if we had them continued, then we'd understand the obsession. Instead, they were just like, he's obsessed with her. That's the episode.
Matt touched some paintings and he knew exactly who he was going for.
Well, that would have been that was fine because they also look. That was something they set up at the beginning of the episode when he touched her face. I was just like, is that the first time he's done that since Daredevil season I want to say was season 2.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, does he not like understand facial structure of people? Like,
No, he
has he ever
does.
touched?
That
I
is
mean,
that's his whole thing. Is like
he
in
just touches
something
someone's
from the
face and
Netflix show too.
got it.
Like they were redoing it because he touches her face at the beginning of the episode, then he touches the painting, and he knows who it's supposed to be. That is Daredevil's plot lines.
He touches more than her face in that in the beginning of the episode, if you know what I mean. But what I'm talking about here is that his definitely his this roundabout. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like Matt was sprinkled in throughout this episode. This definitely felt more like a Fisk crime episode with Muse also being a big part of it. And I felt like Matt was injected versus like the episode 5 where it was just all Matt all the time. We didn't even see anybody else. Uh Definitely I felt like there was less Matt in here cuz they were focusing on other stories and building up those plot lines this time.
Well,
Did
I
you feel
think
that too?
it felt like there was less Matt in this episode because it was about as long as both of the prior 2 episodes we had last week, which to say they were the shortest episodes of the season so far. And it did feel like, so I think this one without credits was probably like 38 minutes, somewhere around there,
I
35 to
like that.
38
Yeah.
minutes. Um and they had to have their Daredevil fight scene, they had to have the Daredevil at the crime scene, Matt Murdock reuniting with Hector Ayala's niece. They had to have all of those scenes there, and they had to have Matt Murdock reconnecting with Heather again, because when was the last time we saw the two of them together? The end of episode 4 or 3?
Yeah.
It's been a while. And
It has been a while.
I think we're losing the supporting cast of this show a little too much.
Yeah, I kind of feel that too. It's not like as well balanced, but I feel like we're getting some bits of they definitely have to like balance it out cuz as you've always said in the videos that you're posting and as we know, this season is a mishmash of, you know, the prior whatever they tried and then the rehaul. So it's stitched together. The pacing's a little bit all over the place, and the balancing's a little all over the
But
place too.
I'm also seeing that, and I sent you some information. I'm seeing a lot of people using that as an excuse as to why it's okay that it's not like that, like because it had some production issues. But it's like, no, but that's the whole thing. You don't watch a movie and think, oh, you know what, this isn't really handled well. But I know there were some issues behind the scenes that they weren't really able to take into consideration or correct ahead of time. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. That's not how you watch that's not how you watch a TV show or movie. You are
No,
presented
you
with the
don't.
final product, and if there's an issue with it, it's there. It's not something that they can fix ever really.
It's along like it's made for the general audience. Even if they didn't do their homework, you're not making it so that people who did their homework are watching it. That's essentially what you were getting at.
Well, I
So
also see a lot of people saying like, "Oh, well, Muse is coming back, so this isn't the end of it." And it's like, "Okay, we know Muse isn't coming back because we are in the know. We know the leaks. Nothing in that episode indicated that Muse could come back or he's still alive or there's a supernatural element to it. That needed to be teased in this episode
yeah,
if we're going to let them excuse that."
homie got shot like multiple times in the chest, was dead on the floor. Everyone confirmed it. They took his mask off. They probably autopsied him. He's dead. He's deader than dead. There's no like Dex where he just opens his eyes and then escaped. There was no he ran away and you'll see him again next time. He's dead.
There was no like if they were like to do a Michael Myers thing where we hear him like breathing over the end credits or like we hear his heartbeat or something like that to signify that, oh, this character is coming back. I would say, okay, yeah, we're not done with this. It's very clear we're not done with this. I can't look
Mhm.
at a behind the scenes photo or behind the scenes production information of something and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to remember this and factor it into the story going forward. No, you when you watch a show or a movie, you are presented with information. If the information you have while watching it is not introduced to you in the runtime and you need to know it ahead of time, it doesn't work out that well unless you're watching like a sequel and there was information that was given to you prior. Like that would make sense, but at that point they catch up the audience on that.
Yeah. And yeah, so we're not going to see him. Sorry guys. Unfortunately, I think they just kind of wasted his character. He was like a catalyst for Matt to get back. And I feel like that's all they really needed him for. It was the escalating political tensions, and I think he's also a catalyst in Fisk's plans. At least that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. That was the basis of my video that we just released.
And I'd also
Um
say that I think there is an opportunity for him to come back in some kind of supernatural way. It's something that they can and it seems like are doing. But
they would
this
have to build
episode
it.
this
The
episode
Dutchman.
did not introduce that element. It did not create that like idea in my head that he could come back.
If anything, it showed that he's just as human, if not more human than the rest of us. He's, a broken guy. He's a psychopath. Classic serial killer. Took it out on his therapist, then got capped multiple times in the chest. That's it.
The thing is, we've heard about this effect he's had going viral across Hell's Kitchen or New York City. I don't remember if they
Yeah.
specified what area, but we didn't see
I
that.
think
We've only ever heard people talking about it.
we saw there was the one time when we saw like those two girls go up and say, "Hey, are you Muse?" and then he kidnaps and
That's
kills them.
exactly what I mean. Like we've heard about how viral this character is, but we haven't really seen any evidence of that aside from those two characters just being like, "Oh, we've seen your we've seen all of your murals across the city. Can we get a picture with you?" And it's kind of like, "Oh, that's as far as we're going with this." I thought we were going to see like actual influence on the city.
I think it's definitely part of that problem where it's too many villains in the kitchen. Like they can't give Muse the focus that he needs because Fisk still is the main villain.
They could though. They could, and they have with Bullseye in season 3, for example. That's a character
Right.
who, again, 4 episodes more in the season than Born Again has, and it's had its own production.
Didn't they
But
always do
that
that?
was
Like,
that was a character that they were able to balance with the Fisk storyline while doing really interesting things with the Bullseye storyline.
was it in season 2? Didn't they also do that with Punisher? Technically, make him like a antagonist kind of.
Yeah, he's like an anti. Well, Punisher is always an anti-hero, but when he was introduced, like he was treated as a villain because Daredevil didn't know, but they resolved that pretty early on in the season.
Okay, but he was definitely the inciting incident of the second season, or at least somewhat the focus.
Yeah, and then Electric comes into play, and the season becomes a bit of a mess.
I completely forgot about her character, bro. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. I keep forgetting that she exists, and I was like, oh yeah, she is in this show. They just never pay any attention to her, and Matt never brings her up again.
She'll be back. She's got to be back.
Yeah, maybe. If they gotta just touch up her character a little bit or make her somewhat more important.
Well, she's dead right now. Like,
Oh, then, but she'll be back.
well, yeah, that's
I love
the
how
thing.
it's only
is that,
comic book.
yeah,
It's
that's
only comic
Elektra's
books
whole
before
thing.
you
Is
think.
she dies and she comes back. That is her character.
I know Frank Miller created her character. Goddamn, Frank, you decided to just bring her back from the dead.
I
Is she like
see.
Talia al Ghul?
I see in the chat Ironic Ridge saying there's no way the painting of Heather was detailed enough to feel exactly like her face. It wasn't detailed enough to feel like her face, but Daredevil is able, in the comics, he has this ability. He can touch a piece of paper and know what is on it because of where the ink is located, because his senses are enhanced. It wasn't saying, like, oh, he recognized, like, it wasn't trying to create that idea that he was touching the paper and it felt exactly the same as Heather's face. It's just
God, how
the
much?
shapes were the same and he was able to identify it.
God, how much? How bad if Daredevil burns himself? How bad would it feel to him?
I
'Cause
mean,
his
pain
senses are
receptors are
enhanced more.
probably fine.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, like, what negativity does Matt have? Because at this point, he's better than the average person who can see.
High frequency sounds.
Oh, so if someone like dings a bell really hard near him, that's gonna
Yeah.
suck.
Have you never watched Daredevil 2003?
Oh, I don't remember it, but I do remember seeing it. Ving Rhames as
Nope.
wait, no, not Ving Rhames. Nope. Michael Clark Duncan. I'm sorry. That Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin was awesome. Oh, hey, Mom. Hi. I'm on stream right now. Hi. Love you. Sorry. Little jump scare by my mom literally scared me. Oh, God. Okay.
Arash, there's a ghost behind you. It followed you from your old apartment.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was definitely Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, but that was what Bullseye basically. They were fighting in a church and he started ringing bells right next to Daredevil's head.
They basically pulled that from Spider-Man 3. Or
No,
did it-
Spider-Man
no,
3 pulled that from
Spider-Man 3
well, actually
from them.
I guess they both kind of pull it from the comics.
High frequency sounds, man. Easiest kryptonite to add to any character. So okay, and then we went through that, and then okay, what about Vanessa trying to kill Kingpin? What did you think about
She
that?
wasn't.
No, you think it was just
No,
the guy lone
what
wolf?
what are you talking about?
No, the guy who went over to try and shoot.
Yeah, she was
Fisk?
she was totally on Fisk's side of that.
Don't you remember the conversation she had with that guy?
Yeah, and she
earlier?
was
And then he
fucking
was
with
just like-
him. She was setting him up to
fucking
be
with him?
killed.
I don't think so.
No, that's 100% what happened. I'm gonna go. Hold on.
I gotta look back. I gotta
Chat.
see it, 'cause, like, the way things
If you could jump in on this, she was definitely in on the plan.
to me it seemed like she said, "Are you asking for my permission or my whatever?"
Yeah, she was. Why would she tell the guy directly? Like, this was also a callback to something that happens in the comic.
Someone's Ton says jury's still out.
All right, I'm gonna go to the MCU fandom page. Vanessa texts Luca, giving him the address of a restaurant where Fisk is supposed to dine all alone, so Luca goes there with an intention to kill him. However, before he could reach Fisk, he gets caught in the trap, and killed by Cashman. As Fisk casually asks him if Vanessa would like for him to get her some takeout.
Okay.
She made
All
the
right.
plan with him.
Okay. All right. So it's just to flesh out people who are like trying to betray him.
Yeah, he was essentially like, "Hey, I know you don't really like that your husband's getting involved in politics, so how about we take him out together and then we'll just like split the pie 50-50." And she's just like, all right, well, I'll think about it. All right, I thought about it. This is where you can kill him. Go ahead. He's by himself. He wasn't by himself.
Nope.
It was a trap though. How could you not see that it was a trap?
I I thought it. Okay. I guess I'm just not great at reading subtext then. On that instant. Although I'm gonna be honest, whenever someone's like dealing with someone shady in an underground thing, sometimes I kind of tune out when like Fisk and Matt are not involved. I was like, oh man, does this matter? Sometimes I tune out. I'll admit. All right. I was
Besides
looking
that,
for
did
something
anything
very
else
specific.
happen in this episode?
All right. Let's see. Fisk tightening his power on the city. Matt and Heather getting it on in the shower, showing that the MCU can revisit sex scenes. And no, I don't think there's anything else really.
I'm trying to remember if there was anything else I noticed there. It talked about Michael Gandolfini. Well, it's okay, but the thing is, I feel like they give you all the hints to understand that they were working together and they were trying to trap that dude who they have mentioned several times in earlier episodes they have a problem with. They are
Okay, Zach,
constantly talking about how Luca is acting out and it's pissing them off.
you made your point. I'm wrong. I know when I'm wrong, sir.
Well, no, that was
I was
a response to Ton in chat saying, "I don't know if it's
oh,
if it's definitive either way yet." I feel like it's pretty. I don't mean to like call you out on it. I just feel like if you're paying attention, which you just said you probably weren't.
mm-hmm.
That's what was said. I'm sorry, but that's it.
Look, like I told you before, when it comes to like characters meeting up, like sub characters who aren't Matt or Fisk showing up and doing something else, sometimes I'll admit I kind of tune out a little bit. That's it, you know? And so I kind of missed the whole Luca thing. To be honest, I forgot that guy's name was Luca. He was such a nothing character.
Well, he was causing trouble for Fisk's empire. That was his main.
That was his main point. His whole
Yeah.
thing was just, oh, I'm gonna cause trouble, num num num, and then got shot in the fucking head. Oh man.
Do you think they're still trying to build up Angela as White Tiger for the end of this season or beginning of next season?
Definitely next season. I don't think they're gonna really touch upon her anytime this
It
season because they have just so much more on their plate. They have
so
2 episodes left.
so here's my thing. I thought they could have done that if they went to the in the direction of in the last episode right before she finds Muse, if she was like
Mhm.
investigating and she like discovered his identity or anything like that beforehand. I would have believed that. I would have thought they were going in that direction. But it seems like it doesn't seem like she's a fighter. it doesn't seem like she's really interested in it. I think it's possible that she could become White Tiger, though.
A transformation like that for her to become White Tiger. Also, she's like not as grown to be in that full thing. I think she's still in high school, isn't she?
Well, yeah, but White Tiger, the other Ava Ayala, is pretty
Mhm.
young.
Yeah. She still has his amulet. He kept it, so they definitely are hinting there that she will grow up to be the White Tiger. It's just
I
they'll
think it's a
probably either save that for the second
possibility.
season or just opening up the door potentially for other shit.
Yeah, I guess we're really gonna have to see what they're doing with that. She's confirmed to come back in season 2, I suppose.
So then that's probably it. They're probably going to build on that for 3 to 4 episodes, and then halfway through, she's going to pop up
Or
in a
I'm
uniform.
sorry, she's not confirmed, but she's rumored to come back. That's what I meant to say.
Still, my statement stands.
Yeah. I also think that it seems like they might have somebody who could be Ava Ayala in season 2. We'll see though. We don't know for sure yet. Just looking at the cast list.
Got my boy Foggy there.
But that's all I really have to say about this episode. I was really let down with it. Definitely my least favorite episode of the season so far.
Same. I'm still nailing that it's a setup episode, and the next episode will probably be way better than this one.
Well,
Because
it's
probably
less
gonna pay
about.
off.
I will reiterate, mine is less about what this episode could be setting up. It's more
Mhm.
about what we are presented with already, though.
Yeah.
If they would have given us like one stinger at the end of it, I would have been like, oh, okay, I understand what they're setting up here. But no, if we're just watching the episode as it is, no behind the scenes information, they close the book on the Muse storyline.
And yeah, that's I thought you were gonna
like what the,
Yeah.
I was done talking and you were just like,
I was looking at chat.
oh shit, I
Sorry.
forgot. I'm like doing a thing.
I was looking at chat looking for more questions, but all right. I think that's all our thoughts on this episode of Daredevil. Kind of
Yeah.
a
Not my
I'll give it a
favorite.
solid
I
5
think
out of 10.
I think the fight scene was pretty cool. Fight scene was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's all
always
I
great
have
to
to
see
say,
Matt
though.
punch a guy in the face, dude. Like
Yeah, seeing Matt Murdock utilize that knife too was pretty cool.
I'll be entirely honest, Zach. The Switch 2 announcement this morning had more of a reaction out of me than that last night's episode of Daredevil.
I figured.
You know.
Yeah, no,
You know.
I know, but still, I
Yeah,
agree. But
definitely.
yes,
Yes.
but that is
But,
gonna
hey.
do it. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share?
Nope. I said that's all we got right now.
Alright. Yep, that is going to do us for another week of Daredevil talk. We still don't have a title. I thought we were going to have a title last week, but
That we said
untitled
discussion.
Daredevil talk show. We are going to be back on X2 tomorrow, doing some more fun stuff. We have all kinds of cool news announcements for the channels. And I think we're going to be playing Star Wars Unlimited finally, but we'll see. It all depends on if Corey learned how to play the game yet and Justin made a deck. So we will see you tomorrow. If not, we'll be playing something else. All right, but thank you so much for stopping by.